I do not have an intro for Straight Outta Lynwood. No intro, no nothing. This is it. Start of the video.
Man, end of an era.
Is it?
I mean, end of the era of you having prepared intros.
Prepared is a strong word.
I think that's appropriate. We're at the last album really was an end of an era. It was the end of Weird Al using television and other things to talk about the context of popular culture. This is Weird Al's first internet album, everyone. I can't think of a better album to bring in the pros and cons of the internet era than Weird Al's Straight Outta Lynwood.
Wait, there are cons to the internet era? I thought the internet was spectacular and had no downsides whatsoever.
Oh, that's what the people upstairs would like us to think. But we'll show them.
I mean, this is a particularly hypercritical album of the time in which it was made. Somewhat.
Yes, if we're looking for a timeless album, this is not it. But the way to talk about whether things are timeless or not is with a little bit of hastily made history. Because that's right, we're here with Weird Al's Straight Outta Lynwood, released on September 26th, 2006. That's right, I'm just out of college, I'm ready to face the world and everything else.
Wait, you were ready to face the world in 2006?
Of course not, that's just me putting on a brave face. It was recorded at Mad Dog Studios, The Pass, 4th Street Recording, and Westlake Audio. Engineered by Tony Papa and Rafael Serrano, assisted by Brian Warwick, Jason Rankins, John Adams, and Philip Ramos. The original songs were recorded from July 2005 to the fall of 2005. Parodies were recorded in 2 sessions, one in February 2006 and later in July 2006. Critical response for this album was extremely positive. It debuted at 28 on the Billboard charts, but peaked at number 10. This would be Al's peak on the charts until Mandatory Fun. Went gold on April 4th, 2007, my 24th birthday. Happy birthday, me. White and Nerdy peaked at number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100, topping his previous highest charting single, Eat It.
Ooh.
White and Nerdy was certified platinum single on January 31st, 2008, which was the first time for Weird Al. The album was nominated for a Grammy Award for Best Comedy and Surround Sound Album. Didn't win either of them. Because there was no headline video for Poodle Hat, this album swung almost the other way with 9 videos in total.
Yeah, 9 videos, like 5 good ones, maybe.
Oh, you're 5? You're thinking 5 whole good ones?
Yeah, that's being a little generous. As far as personnel, coming back to the album, we've got Weird Al, Jim West, Steve J, and John Bermuda Schwartz. Warren Looning returns for trumpets on the polka. Joel Peskin is back for clarinet on the polka, and Tommy Johnson is on tuba on the polka. Unfortunately, this will be his last appearance on a polka. This is his final Weird Al album because he died from cancer a month after its release. R.I.P. Tommy Johnson. Ruben Valtierra on keyboards for Do I Creep You Out? Kim Ballard on keyboards on multiple tracks. Lee Thornburg returns for trumpets, and Lisa Popeil is back for backing vocals. Now, we've got some interesting new personnel tonight. First one is Miles J, playing string bass on Pancreas and Weasel Stomping Day. If that name sounds familiar, that's because he's Steve J's oldest son. That's right, these guys have been in the business long enough that they can get their children on the albums. Next, Sarah O'Brien is playing cello on Pancreas. She's a session musician, a composer for film and TV. She's played with Ozzy, ELO, and Yanni. John Dixon plays French horn on Pancreas and Don't Download This Song. He's a session musician. He's a composer for TV and film for things like Burn Notice, the XXX movies, and the Wonder Years. Nick Lane is on trombone. He's a session musician. He's played with No Doubt, Wallflowers, and Yes. And no, I'm not going to do the bit. Kim Aaron is on backing vocals, and unfortunately, I couldn't find out much about her. Monique Donnelly is on backing vocals. She toured on Strings Attached, and she's been on a lot of movie soundtracks, and you'll find that in common with a lot of these other people, because Angie Jaree also did backing vocals. She played with Daft Punk on Random Access Memories, and all of these people coming up will have been members of the Hollywood Film Chorale, people like Scotty Haskell, David Joyce, and Randy Crenshaw, all providing backing vocals. And last, but not least, we have Suzanne, Nina, and Bo Yankovic on Weasel Noises.
Oh.
They are Al's wife, daughter, and cockatiel, respectively.
Oh.
Don't get those mixed up.
And one thing about this album that we have to address is cut material. You guys may remember all the way back weeks and weeks ago when we did a potpourri segment on You're Pitiful. Atlantic Records said no you because they thought it was too early in Blunt's career for a parody. and we're concerned it might label him as a one-hit wonder. And to Atlantic Records, I say to you, he didn't need any help. James Blunt, he already did that.
Yeah, who?
Dude,
I mean, he's produced other albums since You're Beautiful, but none of them quite had the
it
staying
wasn't
power.
even his fault that the song got squished and Dan still comes out swinging.
I know.
You're not wrong, and it's his only song ever that anybody cared about.
I mean, I think this quote from Al is very instructive. Quote, "If James Blunt himself were objecting, I wouldn't even offer my parody for free on my website. But since it's a bunch of suits who are actually going against their own artist wishes, I have absolutely no problem with it. So yes, Al says, please download that song."
And I did.
In addition to that, we have several songs that were either written, given permission, or just given up entirely. We have Bad Day by Daniel Powder. Al was going to do a song called You Had a Bad Date. Powder withheld permission until the literal last second, like right before they were recording White and Nerdy. And by that point, it was too late. Al said, sorry, not going to do it. Next, we have I'm in Love with a Stripper by T-Pain, which was going to be I'm in Love with the Skipper, which, would you believe it's another Gilligan's Island
We can
parody?
really live without that one.
Yeah, I was gonna say one and done on that. You don't need a second swing.
It was composed, but not recorded. However, Al did play it live on the Lynwood tour. Last but not least, this polka is missing something. That's right. Nickelback had granted permission for Photograph for Polkarama, but unfortunately, Al just couldn't find a place to put it in the medley where it makes sense. Speaking of looking at things, check out this album art. Al decided, since he was going to do a hip-hop song as his lead single, that he would go and get rap art directors and photographers who are familiar with that market to do this album. And Straight Outta Lynwood definitely looks like a rap or hip-hop album from the early aughts. He had Jeff Gilligan direct the art, Michael Blackwell on photography. And also, that dog was a random local pit bull named Doughboy. He was recruited when the owners walked by the photo shoot. They saw the dog and said, let's put him in this picture.
I love that story. That's
It's a great
fantastic.
story.
Go out on a limb and say that this is the most like committed to the bit for an album Al has got.
Yeah.
If you didn't know the household name Weird Al, this would just blend into the background of every other rap album out there.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah, you'll see that we have a front and back cover that I put in the thing. They were trying to decide whether they wanted to use either of those photographs. The front could have been the back cover, but I think Al made the right choice with picking the front cover.
See, I actually like the back cover better.
For me, the back cover is Al is in on the bit and inviting you to be in on the bit. Like, yeah, I know this is my face here that you're seeing. Isn't that weird? Where the first one, he's owning it. Like, if you didn't know what Weird Al looked like, you didn't know the name, this is just another guy's rap album. Pass it on the shelf.
I guess the benefit of the cover we ended up with is you have a natural place to put the title for the album, and you got Doughboy down there. So maybe they made the correct choice after all. Dan, I got married in that outfit, remember?
You did, that's right.
We have been having some behind-the-scenes disputes in the secret Weird Al chat on the Discord because Not a Buttface feels very strongly that we do not have enough songs in our F tier. So this week on Straight Outta Lynwood, one of these songs needs to be worse than Genius in France to go down into our F tier with the likes of Still Billy Joel to me, Gandhi 2, and 7 seconds of just random noise.
Can we do it?
Make sure you go to Weird Al's official YouTube channel. He will have a Straight Out of Lynwood playlist. You can listen along with us. And you know what? Bonus points if you are white and nerdy.
I was going to say, that's kind of our target demographic, unfortunately.
I wanna roll with the gangsters, but so far they all think I'm too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy. Think I'm just too white and nerdy.
Man, I'm not really sure what I want to say about this song. I've got all these pages of notes here, just oodles and oodles of words. All I can say about myself that I am indeed white and nerdy. The reason why this song is good is because it is so hyper self-aware that it's simultaneously enjoying itself, but also taking the piss out of itself. You're not quite sure where it's falling on it. I really think the best summation of this song is that its Wikipedia page has the following header. This article may contain an excessive amount of intricate detail that may interest only a particular audience. And honestly, I can't think of a better way to make fun of it than that.
When you listen to gangster rap, right? Like gangster rap is itself a kind of parody of that particular culture, while also being the anthem of that culture. And White and Nerdy, hilarious song, really funny, excellent parody of a pretty good song. Like I actually enjoy the original song Riding a lot. But it's also an anthem for white nerdy guys who did not have a rap anthem before now. Like legitimately, that's what it is.
Yeah.
And you're right, it can be simultaneously being the thing and making fun of the thing, because being like a white nerdy person who is into comic books and sci-fi and gets into online debates about Picard, that's a little ridiculous, but I've been doing it for 30 years, so...
Like, Chameleonaire, to his credit, really likes this song. Like, he's a big fan of Weird Al. He actually credits the song with helping, Roland get some awards, really keep it in the public consciousness. And he respects Al's skills as a rapper. He's like, man, I didn't know he could rap that good. And he heard this and he's like giving him due credit for it. And he didn't pull a Coolio.
Right.
He didn't pull an Eminem. And, considering that Roland is a song about racial profiling, some very serious subject matter, of which this song, I think, has the self-awareness of not to compare it to that. Instead, it's a song about fitting in. And I understand, Weird Al's character in the song, his desire to fit in with the gangsters, but he can't do it because he's simply too white and nerdy. But you know what? You'll be okay, Al.
You touched on this, that this is like easily Al's best rap cover. No contest.
I think so too.
Not only that, Al is, I can't accurately remember. Is he just getting ahead of or riding the crest of that oncoming wave of the nerd shall inherit the earth?
This is right before that.
Like he's just getting out in front of it. And he's doing it in a way that he's doing similar work here that he did on Pentiums, right? Except he's broadening that scope of beyond just the computer geek and encompassing all of geek fandom, from D&D to Star Trek to comics to extracurricular clubs. I think the only aspect he's missing is a reference to like gaming outside of Minesweeper, which does kind of seem to be a blind spot for him.
I mean, there's only so much you can cram into it.
You're Pitiful did have a reference to Halo 2 that got cut from the album.
Yeah.
Touché.
Now, because I'm white and nerdy, and is there anything whiter and nerdier than being pedantic about an obsession you have?
Yes.
You can't be a champion at D&D. That's not how D&D works.
It's a metaphor.
A metaphor for what, Dan?
I don't know D&D as well as you do. Is there a subclass or a specialty that you can be a champion?
There is a fighter subclass called the Champion, so you can play a champion in D&D, but it doesn't make you a champion at D&D.
No, he's at D&D. He plays a champion, is what he's saying.
No. What he says is, I'm a champion at D&D. That's a word crime he's committing, and we know that this song is S tier as hell.
Yeah, I got S triple plus.
Well, now hold on. We also have to point out the fact that this song was inescapable in pop culture.
Oh, yeah.
And I wasn't around at the time of Fat or Eat It, but I have to wonder if this surpasses it even for cultural impact.
Yes.
Absolutely. This is his #1 song that he's ever written.
As by all criteria, S++.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, the thing is, though, as you said, the biggest question is Kirk or Picard. But here's the thing. You were drinking Earl Grey earlier. You betrayed yourself. Of course it's Picard. He's the superior officer.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that at all.
Flow, pancreatic juice. Flow, into the duodenum, won't you flow? Insulin, flow, glucagon.
Tonight, on Behind the Music, we present to you the story of Brian Wilson, one of music's greatest geniuses, who unfortunately drove himself to the brink. One day in 1966, he showed his new album, Pet Sounds, to his best friend, Paul McCartney. Paul goes, Oh, Brian, what a lovely record. And then he proceeds to make Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. This sets Brian on the path to say, I am better than Paul. I am better than him. I will prove it. And he locks himself in a basement to try to make an album called Smile, famously unreleased for 40-ish years. This is Al saying, you know what, Brian Wilson, I really like the Beach Boys. I love Brian Wilson. I love that sound. And I want to make a loving tribute to this man. And he does it based on this ridiculous body part song that unfortunately does not have anything to the level of funky, funky neurons for us to latch onto. And when people brought up, oh, is this part of Nerdcore or is it riding the wave to Nerdcore? And I would posit to you that this is why this is pre-Nerdcore, because it doesn't get what makes those science songs funny. And that's why Al does a better job when he takes a second crack at it with the Brain song. But my God, I cannot imagine a song other than possibly Genius in France where you have this S-tier level of production where you absolutely 100% nail the sound and it's completely wasted on, you know what? I really like my Pancreas. It's like, what's the deal here? This is like you're making Wacky Deli here, Al.
I gotta argue that this is his first time trying to make a science biology song, and then the next time he succeeds. Because this is technically the second. Like, I, for no good reason, kinda love the biology songs. The Brain song, and previously, Clone Now. Also, I was the one out here champion Trigger Happy for its fantastic send-up of the Beach Boys. All that said, do we really need a second Beach Boys, like Kick at the Cat? Do we really need that?
This is what happens when Al's like, you know what? I have enough money. I have enough prestige now that I can dedicate a whole song on an album to a bit that I want to do. And this is extremely self-indulgent. And it's like, I appreciate the sentiment.
I legitimately don't get the joke of this song. And I realize that explaining a joke makes it not funny, but we're well past that point. So, what is the joke?
The joke is, that sure would be a weird thing to dedicate a whole song to. My Pancreas. Ha ha ha. Wouldn't that be
so
quirky?
This is an uncharacteristic modern breach of the Demento containment zone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All we know for sure about this song is that it's not the guy from the White Stuff, because that dude's Pancreas went into shock. These guys are mortal enemies. And yeah, D for duodenum.
I'm kind of stuck with Dan on this one of it being a perfectly competent execution on a nothing topic. So yeah, sucks to suck. C.
I also gave it a C. If they had taken this level of production and applied it to possibly any other subject matter, I would have probably given it a higher grade. And also, it's very much a misfire to put this as the second song on the album, because we've had a real good run of albums here where we've had anchor parody and then banger of an original song.
I gotta, again, nitpick here is that I guess this isn't just a one joke song, because it also does squeak in a non sequitur restating Newton's law of universal gravitation, which does my heart good. Unfortunately, this song isn't about my heart. It's about my pancreas.
It's like 1 1/8 jokes.
I got this at 0 jokes. I didn't get any joke out of this.
And you know what else is too funny? That stupid Monopoly money. Can't take 'em seriously at all.
Remember how there was kind of a big fuss about some underground punk band selling out when they released their album named after the single most childish euphemism for poop? And then remember a couple years later when they released a pop punk rock opera concept album with an opener protesting the Iraq War.
Yes. Yes, I do.
American Idiot, the album, might be one of my favorite albums of all time. If you want to get into why 10-minute long songs can absolutely work, we can do that off air. So to hear Mr. Weird parody that song with a lol Canadians are funny song, it kinda, well, you know, bud, it just, no, f you guys. No, this is an S++ song. Sorry. I had you going there for a second, didn't I?
Yeah,
There, bud.
not even a little bit.
Anyways. Oh, no? Darn. Well, we'll try again next time. This song rules. Al nails Green Day's more polished production and their melodic take on pop punk. He knocks it out of the park with every Canadian stereotype, and he continues his trend of wringing every last comedic bit out of the lyrics by changing it up every chorus. S plus 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 song. Fantastic. Good job. I am so happy to be represented on this album properly.
I also like how it turns into kind of a jokey, jealous riff. I'm trying to think of who the perspective character of the song. Like, is this actually the Canadian idiot, or is the guy who?
This is Addicted to
stealth
Spuds
joke
guy.
of this song
He does the same
is
thing.
that it's not making fun of Canadians. It's making fun of Americans who don't know anything about Canada.
Exactly.
And to do that joke any better, you have to cut checks to Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
I like the song, but I can think of probably 3 other songs about Canada that are funnier. But that's a very tall, like, Blame Canada is such an extremely tall bar to clear that I don't know if Weird Al, even if he had used something else to do it, I don't think he could ever beat those 2 guys at Blaming Canada.
Brick is right that it's kind of hard to parody Canada. And this reminds me of an amusing anecdote. Brick and I were talking off air about how, and I quote, non-Americans have this idea that you like go to Target and the guy in front of you is wearing a piece, and it's just isn't true. No more so than the guy in front of you at Tim Hortons is carrying a hockey stick. I was having this conversation after I just left the line in one of my town's 4 Tim Hortons, which happened to be the closest one to one of our 2 hockey rinks, where the guy behind me in line had his duffel bag coming to or heading from the rink.
It is well known that in live versions of this song that Weird Al will often drop in a coo-loo-coo-coo-coo-coo-coo from The Great White North, which is probably the number 1 Canadian parody by Canadians.
Letterkenny surpassed it,
Fair.
sorry.
I think I would love to give this song props for finding an excellent rhyme for Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Doing anything with the word Saskatchewan is immediately funny.
I'm sorry, but Zamboni rhymed with Kraft
Oh yeah,
macaroni.
no, it's
it
all
takes the
good.
cake.
So I'm definitely putting this song in A for Alberta.
Damn it, that's what I was going to say.
Only A, eh?
Yeah, you stop stealing jokes. I was going to say A for A. God damn it. Ugh. Well, that's just very American idiot of me being jealous of Canadians for having better stuff than us.
I sued Delta Airlines because they sold me a ticket to New Jersey. I went there and it sucked. Yeah!
I've had the pleasure of seeing Weird Al Yankovic in concert 3 times. He played this song at all 3 shows. And I was like, man, I wish he'd played anything else. The outro is the best part of the song when he's going into his like hilarious cackle. That's my favorite part, and that's the only thing that's keeping this song out of D tier for me. I feel like this song is like the listicle gone wrong.
Yeah.
There's a lyric in the song where he says, I'm going to sue Ben Affleck, and there's like a pause. Do I need a reason? Like, yes, you need a reason to sue someone. That's ostensibly the entire source of comedy is the song, is you listing dumb reasons for wanting to sue people, and you just bailed on that one.
Yeah, oh boy, new metal, to
No,
quote
Rage Against the
Tarantula.
Machine is not new metal. Excuse me.
Listen, Dan, to quote Tarantula, mixing rap and heavy metal like the early 90s, which is all I can think about when I listen to this song. Are you going to say that rap rock is different than new metal? Because it's all just kind of a sludge in my brain.
We're not going to get into an argument about that, but I will say that this actually gives me more Faith No More vibes than Rage Against the Machine vibes. Like, I feel like Al is really channeling like a Mike Patton kind of sound here than a Tom Morello sort of sound. My note about this song is the "why does this always happen to me" guy is back.
Is he suing people because like he got his knife tip bent?
Yeah, exactly.
Look, the whole Sue McDonald's because the coffee was too hot, quote unquote, joke is kind of a brilliant counter information spreading by marketing.
Yes.
Stella Mae Liebeck suffered 3rd-degree burns and was in hospital for 8 days for skin grafting treatment because the coffee that she spilled on herself was almost 200 degrees Fahrenheit.
That's like
They had
40,000
every
degrees
right to
Celsius,
sue.
wasn't it?
Well,
I'm not a Canadian idiot, so I wouldn't know.
No, Like, she had every right to sue, in my opinion. Note, the opinions held by Not a Buttface are not, in fact, legal
Now,
advice.
if Al wants to do a modern version of frivolous lawsuits based on the saga of Billy Mitchell and Todd Rogers, I'm down. Like, if he
Sure.
really wants to put a gaming song out there, I know.
As far as Rage parodies go, I mean, I think the music is okay, but I don't know. I don't think it really actually captures the spirit of Rage's like oeuvre or their mood.
Well, I think that's part of the joke, is like they have this righteous indignation against the system, whereas this is a song that is poking fun at look at how the system can be abused.
Yeah, but it doesn't really land.
No, it really doesn't. Anyways, so Brick was giving this a C. Dan, you had...
I had it as a C as well.
And yeah, you know, this is a C song. It's just really not my
I'll put
cup
it
of
above
tea.
Pancreas.
We'll take you to the candy shop. For one taste of what we got. Go ahead and spend it all you got. Come on. Keep going till you hit the spot. When the pimp's in the crib, mom, drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
I think starting with the chicken dance might be a little too on the nose for a polka medley. It took Al 4 or 5 polka medleys before he like found his like medley voice, which is, you can imagine a character just reading the lyrics to the songs without knowing what they mean. Like this innocent naivete. And I think Polkarama captures that the best. I've read in a review for this album, hearing Al sing, "I'll let you lick the lollipop," might be the most immediately hilarious moment on the entire album. I have to agree. He thinks he's singing about an actual candy shop.
It is tied for the best oblivious singing, having Candy Shop there, as it did with Brown
And then there's-
Sugar.
Yep.
This
You
is...
get to the end, there's a fantastic moment the first time you hear this medley when you realize he's singing Gold Digger. Where's he going with this? Whoa, I need to know.
Well, he based that on the radio edit, so
Sure,
it
but-
makes sense.
Damn, listen.
Yeah,
You
I
still
worry.
we
worry.
still worry just a little bit.
This polka does stand out a little more to me than some of the other contemporary medleys around it, because my discovery playlist, when I first got this album and I went and listened to all the songs that were used to make up the medley, I was introduced to Modest Mouse's Float On, which is now one
Yep.
of my favorite songs ever. I absolutely adore that song and listen to it all the time. Yeah, I am perfectly happy to give Polkarama with an exclamation point an A with an exclamation point.
So yeah, that chunk from Franz Ferdinand to Gorillaz, and then let's just jump right over to the Pussycat Dolls to Stealth Include the Killers, is like 60% of what I was listening to through high school. Special thanks to Polka, this one particular, for introducing me to the Gorillaz and getting me to pay attention there. Like, you want to talk about a good Pac-Man song.
Oh, yeah.
It helps this polka that the mid-aughts had started recovering musically a little bit from the past couple of years, so we started getting some new and interesting sounds for Al to parody.
Recovery.
Yeah. And I gotta tell you, if I were to have one song that was the full parody, it would be Somebody Told Me, because I know Al could just work some real magic with that.
I also want to shout out specifically that the hoedown section on Drop It Like It
Mhm.
Hot is inspired. That is genius. Good job finding a new comedic lens for your hoedown. I love it. This is still only probably the strongest A-tier polka for me, because it just misses the mark with that magic spark or the more focused genre exploration to push it over the edge into S.
Dan, you like this for A?
Of course I love this for A. It's got a lot of good solid material, good medleying, everything flows really well together, and Gold Digger is the perfect thing to end on.
It
It's
really
like,
is.
I can't complain about it.
I have to say, though, if I'm going to take a song out of this polka that I would have loved to see a full parody of, I have to go with Feel Good Inc.
Yeah.
Really, any Gorillaz song of that era, I think Al could adapt into an accordion song, and it would work really well.
I've heard some amazing acoustic covers of Feel Good Inc. And yeah, I can absolutely
Another
see
one
it.
of my favorite songs of all time, but I already knew that one when this album came out.
Look out, it's gonna make your computer screen freeze. Look out, erase the Easter eggs off your DVDs. Look out, erase your hard drive and your backups too. And the hard drive of anyone related to you.
Hi. please go watch Edgar Wright's documentary, The Sparks Brothers, about your favorite band's favorite brand, Sparks. It's 1, a great documentary about 2, a great band. And then, immediately after that, go listen to some Sparks albums. I'd suggest probably Kimono My House or Angst in My Pants. I also have a soft spot for a woofer in tweeter's clothing. This has been my PSA / old man listens to B-52's moment of the show. As for Virus Alert, Al is singing just a bit higher than his comfortable register, but that kinda nails Russell's slightly awkward vocal delivery, and this song is chocked full of riffs any band could make a career out of. It's as close an approximation to Ron's songwriting as one could hope for. Not to mention the actual lyrical content of the song is just a long and rambling spam / chain email-like diatribe about the completely implausible titular virus. It's just pure goofy comedy where Al really gets to run wild with his imagination and show off his musical ability. This is an S+++ song.
Yeah, Weird Al has put away food and TV and embraced the internet as the medium to parody. We'll see this in his albums going forward. And this song, even though he would go back to the well with stop forwarding me that crap, because this song on the surface, as you say, seems about virus, but it's not. It's about a really annoying person who just sends you forwarded emails. And nowadays it wouldn't be forwarded emails. It'd be reposting stuff on Facebook or retweeting or pasting in Discord. Or I think my number one favorite part of this song is when he talks about the subject of stinky cheese, just the way he delivers the stinky cheese.
That is a classic Sparksism.
Yes.
It's so good. Again, Al is nailing Russell.
When you played that movie and I watched it along with you, it's like, I get it. I understand. It's like this motion picture documentary sold me on why this band was so great and why all these people loved this band that I hadn't really heard of. I have to give this an S for, if Al had gone from white nerdy into this, it's like, oh, what a 1-2 punch it would have been.
And then there's the other guy. So this is what happens when you want to write a song about spam, but you already did that 20 years ago. So I will say this, the song has much better listicle energy than I'll Sue Ya. And at this point in the album, like, I'm jonesing for some listicle energy, you know? I didn't watch the documentary with you guys the other week, and I have never heard of this band, and I've never listened to one of their albums. I have this in B for Bleated.
Bleated.
And so the video for this was by a guy named David Lovelace, who's the creator of the very unfortunately named series of internet videos called Retarded Animal Babies. And Al claimed to have more oversight of this video, quote, due to the creator's previous work. And to its credit, this video doesn't really have anything terrible in it. It has a Power Mac G3 blue and white monitor, which I appreciate as a computer nerd. But overall, just mediocre by our standards now, aughts Flash videos. It's like,
this was 2006. Homestar Runner had already been established. Like, Flash video had already passed this by the time this came out.
Yeah.
Flash animation is quaint from that era, and it has a soft spot in my heart. But again, it's just
This
quaint.
feels like a
Nothing
Newgrounds
really
fan
is
video,
quaint.
and that's kind of what it is.
Just when I thought I said all I can say, I came up with more secrets to tell you today. These are my confessions, slipped my mind the last 2 times, silly me. So now I got.
We had previously coined the phrase elevated parody to describe an Al parody that took kind of a nothing burger song and improved it by giving it funnier lyrics. So we had to coin a new phrase for what if the original song isn't just kind of a nothing burger? What if it actually makes humanity worse? What if a song like Confessions Part 2 by Usher comes out that literally makes the planet Earth worse to be on, and then Al improves it? So we came up with 2 finalists. We're going to have to, you could just go down to the comments and vote which one you like better. This is either hyper elevated parody with fries or super elevated parody 2 championship edition.
My vote goes for Super.
You don't get to vote. You're one of the hosts. This is viewer interaction.
I'm trying to sway them.
Like I knew the song, listening to Usher back in the day, but I never sat down and listened to the lyrics. I was getting like really mad at my computer because
I think the words you used were big boy mad.
Like the whole song is about like, I knocked up my side bitch. How'd that happen? Like I don't know what. Wrap it up.
And then go and write a song about how you went to your current girlfriend complaining about it. This is the worst light you could possibly paint yourself in.
And it still might not be the worst song Al's ever parodied. Like, I think it might get worse. Anyway, this Al's version of the song, hysterical, start to finish. Listicle energy, bad relationship, like really bad like this guy's really messed up.
Weird to say that this might be the worst guy when we're dealing with Melanie.
I like how we're taking down a self-absorbed person who doesn't realize they're a bad partner here. Like, Al's done that before, but just like the lack of self-awareness on this person's part is 9/10 of the joke, and he nails it. It's like, what other notes can I give?
The best joke in the song, bar none, is towards the end. I shouldn't say any more until I give you part 4. There's more coming.
We're not even halfway done.
Poor woman.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, she's not going to get part 4 because she's is out the door.
Yeah.
Don't worry. If part 2 is any indication, he'll come chasing after her to get this off his chest. Anyways, I don't listen to any R&B. It's kind of a blind spot for me. I'd never heard part 2 originally. I've just looked up the lyrics. I'm going to have to trust it on your authority that Al nailed the production on it. I kind of expect that of him at this point.
And there's a lot of little Usher-isms in the song that he really nails, really gets very well. To the point where in my notes I wrote that I would actually like to see the Confessions part 2 mashup with part 3. Like every beat it changes. And
this is a legitimate sequel to that song as well, which I think actually makes it even funnier.
Oh! The guy in this song is Prince Charming compared to the guy in part 2.
It's the same guy.
He's the same guy.
I know, but this is less egregious, let's be honest. Anyways, it's easily an elevated parody, right? I just don't enjoy listening to it. It's a B for better than the original.
I mean, I gave it an A. It was really funny.
This an S. This is one of my favorites on the album.
Put your Viking helmet on, spread that mayonnaise on the lawn. Don't you know it's Weasel Stomping Day?
There are 2 lyrics in this song that I really love. And it's, why are we doing it? Who can say? And it's tradition, and that makes it okay.
That line is one of my favorites in the whole Weird Al canon.
Oh my God.
You thought Al had taken out the big guns for Horoscope. Nope. That is Al's most biting criticism ever.
I'm trying to do research into the song. I'm trying to figure out whether this was done specifically for Robot Chicken, or if Al did this song and Seth said, hey, let's make a video out of this for Robot Chicken. I could not get anything definitive on it. And as you know, stop motion animation, the most terrifying of all animation, is a very labor-intensive process. This had to have been a very early thing, and it definitely has that Robot Chicken vibe to it. No bones about it.
No, there were plenty of bones, Dan. We heard them all.
One of my notes was the sound effects oof, but the sound effects in the Robot Chicken one are actually even worse because they dub in more stomping noises and actual bone crunches. Whereas in this one, they're biting on celery. That's how they make the crunchy noises in the song.
That's old Foley trick.
I love the squishes. I love the sound effects in the song.
The squishes in here are fine, but in the video, it goes a little over the line. And I'm like,
No, so, I fall on the line of this is probably the least pleasant song to listen to. I do not like the anguished squeals. Not my cup of tea.
I could have done with more anguished squeals.
No cockatiels were harmed in the production of this song?
Animal cruelty anthem.
It is kind of funny on the YouTube comments for this video how many people don't get the joke.
Yeah.
There's always going to be people who are like, this song's mean to weasels. Like, shut up. You never met a weasel.
Well, I mean, it's clearly inspired by Whacking Day from The
Clearly.
Simpsons.
Oh, you know what? I just thought of, Dan. They
Yeah.
don't have Weasel Stomping Day in Canada. They outlawed it in like 1860.
Oh, that's right.
So Buttface has never celebrated Weasel Stomping Day.
We got to get him a Viking helmet.
Also, I think mayonnaise is illegal in Canada.
Guys, you do know about the East India Trading Company, right? Like the whole beaver pelt thing. Trust me, we have beaver bashing day up here. It's basically
Do you
the
think
same.
beavers are weasels?
Okay.
Basically.
Regardless whether it's beavers or weasels, the sentiment behind it is the same. It's, there's a whole lot of varmints around here, let's go get them.
I love it. It's an A-tier song.
The final punchline of its tradition that makes it okay does not make up for a song that I literally skip every time it comes on. It's a D tier
Ooh.
song.
Oof. I mean, I gave this a B. I agree that that line is what makes it. It's good as a sort of making fun of a holiday song, you know, those kind of cheery holiday songs, as opposed to stuff
Al has
like
two
Tonight Santa
betters
Went
of those.
Crazy. No, but it's a different vibe. You know, again, this is a vibes-based album, and that is very much a traditional holiday song you want to put together. That's what this is.
And did I mention she's a world famous billionaire bikini supermodel astrophysicist? Yeah, she was so pretty she made.
I am a big, unabashed Cake fan. I legitimately stared at a blank page trying to write anything succinct that wasn't just a rambling mess of, I like brass section, they're funky, songs are sardonic and funny. So Al, now twice on one record, is making a pitch-perfect pastiche of an all-time favorite band of mine with a song that is so perfectly their style and filled with cakeisms on it that it's on par with the work he was doing in Dog Eat Dog and Dare to Be Stupid. Like, this song is perfect. It is building off of the structure and subject of Cake's Love You Madly. It is incorporating elements from Long Jacket and Long Line of Cars. It just makes me smile so much on the side of my face. The beating like a Buddy Rich solo bit cracks me up every time.
I think it's important to have boundaries in any relationship, right? And I'm thinking about it. Like the earlobe thing, I can get over that. And you can chuck a copy of Joe Dirt, right? Using infer when you obviously mean imply. That is explicitly a deal breaker for me. Sorry, not sorry.
I mean, talk about a word
Right.
crime, right?
Supposedly, it's not that bad of a word crime.
I mean, extremely high standards guy returns.
Yeah, and you know what? Again, I think that setting your expectations is a very important part of a relationship.
I like to think
You know?
this guy has a happy ending, though. He finally finds what he's looking for in Airline Amy.
Yeah, we need to differentiate our bad partner characters. Like, this is not Confessions guy.
No.
This
Nope.
this guy is kind of in the vein of like your lover or good enough for now, right?
Yeah, he's extremely high standards guy.
Yeah, pickup artist guy is not incel guy, is not run of the mill bad
Yeah,
partner
this,
guy.
This is a man, he knows
Right.
exactly what he wants, and it's not his fault that the music video is terrible.
I have been in this situation before. I have gone. I like went on 2 dates with someone, and on the second date, I found out, yeah, no, I just can't stand garlic or onions, and I'm like, I will never be able to cook for you. This relationship can't go any further.
That's
Like, I physically cannot stop myself from adding that to food. It's not happening.
my wife pronounces the word breakfast as brefix, and when you point this out to her, she always says, "No, I don't."
And she's educating our children. I don't say I'm a big fan of Cake, but I mean, I've listened to my fair share of Cake records over the years, and I like Cake a lot. They're a good band, and this would be an S tier song, but I gotta. Once again, I was really trying my damnedest to do my research on
Were
this.
the horns not brassy enough for you, Dan?
No, the horns were fine.
Uh-huh.
But the problem was that in doing my research, I could not figure out if this song was written for the video or if the video was written for the song. The reason why this doubt still sits in my mind is this quote from Weird Al that says, quote, I was absolutely thrilled that John Cristofalusi agreed to do one of the videos. He's a true genius and one of my all-time heroes. Many of you would know him as the creator of Ren and Stimpy. And unfortunately, we have to talk about John Kay.
No, we
think
don't. We do not.
Well-
We don't talk about the videos in this. The videos have no bearing on the song.
This was after Adult Cartoon Party, where John Kay had officially completely torpedoed his reputation. And he still had a reputation of being a gigantic jerk and everything else.
That video is ass-tastic.
I hate this video. I hate it. Hate. Oh, I hate that video so much.
The crime of the video is that the song is explicitly about the 3 hottest women on the planet, and John Kay can only draw unappealing noodle people.
Oh, there's sure a lot of flapping boobs and butts in it, though.
Dan, you could say that the cinnamon roll too pure for this world that is Weird Al attracted the opposite that is John Kay.
You are bad, John Kay. And
Yes.
the fact that you stain the greatness that is Weird Al makes me hate you even more.
Now, Dan, I'm going to need you to set all those like feelings and thoughts aside and still give this song an S, please. Please, 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 please.
I gave it an A for aspartame.
Ah, god damn it! Brick already sunk it!
Yeah, it's not an S tier song. I'm not holding the video against the song.
Oh,
The song itself,
Say a letter.
it is more cake than cake. It is an S.
Oh, you are giving it an S.
But god damn that video.
Do you want
Oh,
it above Polkarama at the top of A tier?
no.
no, it belongs
You
in
know what?
S.
That just means it's close. But no cigar.
Oh. It's-
Do I creep you out? Your streaming eyes out. Still the only question with me now. Oh, the only question.
So there is some contention that I've probably cut out of the final edit of who this character is. I think this might be a unique character in this one song, because clearly it's some version of incel / stalker guy. But what I like about this song is, like, it's nice to see if this is incel guy. Like, he's starting his very, very long road to recovery with this microscopic bit of introspection. Wait a minute. Am I creeping her out? That's not a question that incel guy ever asks himself. This guy, he swallowed the red pill, but then it like came back up and it's sitting on the tip of his tongue and you're like, don't swallow it again. Anyway, I think it's a really funny song, and I also think it's exactly the length that it needs to be. I think another verse of this song would have ruined it, because it starts, like, the first joke, the first hard line of the song is, I want to feel the warm spot on your chair.
Yeah, this song creeps me out. This song is when you get soft rocked, but the guy is slightly too moist. It's just Ghiblis.
It's Ghibli's guy.
Ghibli.
I do think it's funny that we follow up a song. Basically, this song is about John Kay, if you think about it.
Oh,
Except he
woof.
didn't have the introspection. Oh, yeah. It's funny that this is the first American Idol winner that Weird Al has parodied.
I don't want to think about that, Dan.
What,
Sorry,
American
no.
Idol?
You're aging into
Yeah,
dust.
I don't want
as we
to think
speak.
about American Idol.
Well, another thing you don't want to think about is that the video for this one is a jib jab video, which ironically I think has aged better
It
than the other
has.
videos.
It's not his best jib jab video though.
It's
We'll
not.
get to that.
But my real note is that Melanie did this already and it did it better.
Really?
I normally, when I'm writing my notes, do it while I am like at work. I'm writing them out on my computer there. But I was working from home the other night, so I was listening to this album on the speakers at home, and Not a Girl Face was lying on the couch behind me. And then I hear them choke and go, "What was that?" At the line, "Every time I shake your hand now, want to stick your fingers in my mouth." So, I want to bring you a quote from my partner. Usually, I'm just kind of zoning out, and every once in a while, a song will catch me off guard with just how weird it is. And like, yeah, that's kind of the beauty of Weird
Yeah,
Al,
the man's
isn't
name's
it?
not Normal Al Yankovic.
Nope,
Yeah,
sure
this
isn't.
definitely makes you uncomfortable, and he succeeds.
I could see going back and forth between this or Melanie, but I think the songs are very different, even though they're covering some of the same ground. I give this an A.
A lot of love songs, when examined critically, do come off as creepy, downright stalkerish, and Al has been commenting on that for over 2 decades, which means it's kind of tired at this point. It's a B.
He has to change the voice over the decades, though. Like, writing a song about a stalker in the 1980s, which is where you end up with Melanie, versus writing a song about a stalker in the late aughties, like, that's got to be 2 different voices.
Yeah, but I mean, like, a stalker in the 80s is how my parents met.
Wow. I feel like I just touched the warm spot on your chair. Dan, say a letter so we can move on.
I mean, I gave this a B. It's fine.
Are you putting it above Weasel Stomping Day?
No.
Can we celebrate Creeper Stomping Day?
Yes, we should.
Oh man.
Then you got to touch the really warm spot on your chair.
And then she says, baby, can't we just go out to dinner, please? I says no, she says yes, I says no, she says yes, I says no, she says yes, oh, here's your keys. I step a little bit close.
You know how you can go into your Steam library and you can sort by games that you've played, right? And you can sort it by the amount of time you've spent in each game. Like, oh, I've spent 400 hours playing Factorio. I did not know that about myself. I'm not a religious man, but I like to think that there's like somewhere in this celestial sphere we have that same board, but for like every activity in your life. And I'm going to look at that board someday when I shuffle off this mortal coil, and I'm going to be burning with curiosity to see how many hours of my life I have thrown away having banal conversations with my wife about what we're going to eat for dinner. This conversation happens every single week. I'll be sitting at home. Phone rings. Mrs. Lady Wife. She's in my phone as Mrs. Lady Wife. I'll answer it. She'll be like, hi, I'm driving home. And I'm like, you shouldn't call me when you're driving home. We've been over this. I don't want you calling me from the car. She's like, whatever. What do you want to do for dinner? And I'm like, well, I've got a thing later tonight. I'm going to record like a Weird Al thing with the dudes. And she's like, well, I'm just going to bring home something then. I'm like, that's fine. What are you going to bring home? It's like, I don't know. It's like, well, what are you driving past? Because she works all over the county. I don't ever really know where she's coming from. Something, you'll just drive past something, go to a drive-thru or something, it's fine. And she's like, okay, I'll swing by Wendy's. And I'm like, okay, well, what? Not Wendy's, because I've got a couple of places that are like on my veto list. And she knows this. Wendy's, Subway, Dairy Queen. Can't go to these places. I'll veto them every time. They're my only hard lines. Anywhere but Wendy's is fine. She's like, all right, I'm going to go to the Burger King then. And she's like, see, they got that Impossible Burger. You know, Dan says that's really good. And I'm like, I'm not convinced. I don't want you to buy me that. If you go to Burger King, like, just give me a Whopper and one of their, like, frozen lemonades. She's like, oh, they don't have those anymore. They stopped putting those on the menu. I'm like, when did they stop putting the frozen lemonades on the menu? And she'll be like, I think they have them at Sonic. And I'm like, Sonic hasn't been open in, like, 3 years. You're not going to go to Sonic. I'm like, just go to Wawa. There's a Wawa on the way home. She'll be like, we got Wawa last week. My sandwich wasn't any good. I really don't want to go to the Wawa. Like, fine, go to Chick-fil-A. The Chick-fil-A's up the road. This will be like, it's Sunday. They're closed. They're always closed on. Why do you always suggest Chick-fil-A? It's like, all right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go online, put the order in at B-Dubs, just hit the B-Dubs on the way home. The order will be ready to pick up. She'd be like, I don't want to get out of the car and go anywhere. Like, I've been working all day. Like, I kicked my shoes off. Like, I just want to go to a drive-thru. I'm like, that's great. Then go to a drive-thru. Why are we still having this conversation? You're going to drive past 14 McDonald's. She's like, I'm not really sure I want McDonald's. How about Taco Bell? I'll get a Taco Bell. Yeah, great. Taco Bell. Sounds awesome. She's like, the problem with that is, like, there's a Taco Bell that's out of the way, and the other one you have to drive past the house to get to it. It's like, I don't really want to drive and then do a U-turn and come back. What else do you want me to suggest? You can drive back like a KFC or something. Like, I'll even stoop to KFC at this point just to get out of this conversation. Like, I just drove past it and I just said I'm not making a U-turn. So KFC, not happening. Like, we can order pizza. You can come home. We can get on Howie's. You know, get the pizza delivered. We'll get a sub. She's like, yeah, but last time they like forgot a bunch of stuff. And I already know, like, she doesn't want to get out of the car, so I can't suggest Chipotle. That's what I really want. Like, I really could go for a burrito bowl right now. And it's like, you know what? Just drive home, and then I'll go out and pick up Chipotle, and I'll bring it home. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is drive home. Yeah, but, like, I kind of just want to come home and eat and go to bed, so I don't really have time for you to run out and get Chipotle or run out to Publix and cook something. I'm like, there's a frozen pizza in the freezer right now. I'll put it in the oven. It'll be done when you get home. It's like, I don't know though. Like, I'll get home. I have to wait for this pizza to cook, and I don't know how long I've been rambling, but Al rambles for 10 minutes and 50 seconds.
I will measure that, and I'll see how many units of trapped to the drive-thru.
Can we talk about the song now?
No, it's an F.
We still have to talk about it.
I hate it so much. And for the same...
It's triggering you, isn't it?
I don't like any of the Shaggy Dog songs. At all. Even a little bit.
Now let's hear Dan's take.
Well, I mean, this song is a parody of a song by R. Kelly, noted terrible person. This song would have cost Al 3 times the normal royalty rate because of its length. But R. Kelly, notable terrible person, cut him a break. He said if Kelly didn't cut him that break, other parodies would have been cut from the album. So that can make you feel even worse that theoretically this might have bumped something else off the album because it would have cost 3 times as much as
No,
a
even
normal
worse
thing.
didn't have a Shaggy Dog song on it. He didn't start doing that till Running with Scissors.
So the question he had is, how do you parody a song that is itself some ungodly parody? Because the original song is absolutely one of the most insane, bonkers things I've ever had the lack of privilege of listening to in my life. And Al's rationale was to make it as banal as possible. But the problem is that we've all been in this situation. It's triggering. It hurts me. This isn't even like, at least with Albuquerque, I can say, okay, there's a shtick. I don't agree with it, but there's a shtick. With Genius in France, I'm like, okay, that is a tribute. It's not for me, but whoever that's for really likes it. But this, I have no quarter for this song. It's just, it doesn't do anything for me. It just makes me think of uncomfortable things. And I mean,
Yeah.
Al might want me to be uncomfortable, but that's not why I listen to Weird Al. He makes me uncomfortable in different ways. Like when he does really dark, stuff, which he's done in this very same album. That's the kind of uncomfortable I like when I get with Weird Al. This is too real.
I am of 2 minds. On the one hand, this song is the worst of the both previous 2 long songs. It is musically repetitive and one note like Albuquerque, but in a more laid-back style, with none of the bombast and flair and experimentation of Genius in France, but it is also lacking the lyrical zaniness, allowing for comedic playfulness that Albuquerque was built around. It is a bog standard, mundane experience that we have all had, one that not one of us actually enjoys suffering through or trying to agree to eat at a place and then having that underwhelming outcome of, man, we just settled for fast food. Not only that, but again, R&B just ain't for me. So for all of those reasons, this is truly Al's worst 2 long song so far. But, on the other hand, it also has that 15 seconds starting at 6 minutes and 25 seconds of like really headbanging bops. So, we should take that into account as that is an S part of the song, and using Dan's math, I think this still rounds down to an F. I gotta ask.
Yeah.
Was this video too long for the YouTube's 10-minute cutoff length?
That is a good question. I don't know. We can say a lot of things about the music industry. Innovators? No. Money grubbers? Yes. Music industry, the last thing that it's about is music. All record executives care about is that if you've paid them money. Oh, they love money. Record executives, I don't think there's a single good record executive who ever lived. And that goes for you too, Richard Branson. I know what you're trying to do. This song, I think that it's beautiful that Al decides to tackle the very sensitive subject of music piracy, ? By making a parody of overwrought 1980s celebrity cause songs like We Are the World and Voices That Care and Hands Across America. Because guess what? As a society, we don't really do those anymore. We realize that they were just a bunch of empty platitudes, much like this song is, because Al knows you're going to go and download it anyway because he gave it away on his website for free. But even if he didn't, he still knows that you're going to get it anyway. Think about it. Recording artists need those solid gold Humvees to live. You're taking that personally out of his garage by downloading the record. And don't you feel bad about it? This album goes out with a bang. This song is one of the funniest things Al has ever written. I love it. I can't think of better things to say about it.
So I'm usually the guy to bang the drum of we don't grade songs on their music videos. So all album here have not been commenting on the absolute ass-tastic music videos that they've had for the most of the album so far. So I'd completely forgotten that the right and honorable Bill Plimpton had made an animation for this one. Probably because I've always just downloaded this song.
You feckless degenerate.
Anyways, piracy is not equivalent to theft. Yar har, digital streaming services are doing more harm to creators and musicians. Please support your favorite bands on Bandcamp. As far as the song goes, it's totally in one ear and out the other. It's completely forgettable anthemic pop, kind of like those after-school PSA level raising awareness for charity songs it was inspired by. It's just a silly cultural relic. All I can say as the young guy here is lol lamau.
Did you say a letter, Buttface?
It's a B.
A B? Dan, did I hear that right?
I don't think it's forgettable at all. People absolutely remember this
is
song.
one of the S's of the S tiers. This is one of the all-time
Yeah.
greats. In fact, making the graphical assets for the tier list that are being completely obliterated by YouTube's compression algorithm. But I wanted to have Al in all of the little icons, right? So typically I would just crop him out of the album cover, but if I can get him off of like a picture for a single for a song or from the music video or something. For Don't Download This Song, I just took a screen grab of the kid from the video because the video is that good. And yeah, this really is a case of, like, listen, Buttface, we've been giving you a lot of crap for 12 weeks now.
It's a while. It's been a minute.
It's been a while.
Legitimately, you're just too young to get it.
No, I was there for the Napster and the LimeWires. Like, I was downloading
You were not
songs.
there for how old were you when Napster was out?
You underestimate.
But here's the thing, Buttface. Perhaps this can get you to change your mind. I know that you have been banging the drum on various songs about how you love it when Al goes out on the fade out with a really funny line. And there's nothing funnier than his delivery of, "Buy it, you cheap bastards."
Pretty good.
It's a very good ending line, but again, the song is just forgettable anthemic
Yeah, but
pop.
the reason
and it's
you
a relic
think
of the
that
past.
is because you're too young to get it. If you had grown up 10
I
years
know.
earlier like Dan and I did, you would not have said that. I'm sorry. I don't like to be okay Zoomer. Like, I'm not that guy. I'm that guy. I'm giving this big boy S. So we're gonna have to end up in a big boy A. I'll put this at the top of A tier.
I'll put it this way. I like Yoda and Jurassic Park way better than this song.
Well, yeah, me too.
Really?
Yeah.
But I put both of those in S.
As far as the album is concerned, I just want to point out, I think this is probably his most biting social commentary since 84 when he did 3D. Like, he is
Do you have a little rant
tackling...
for us?
I don't have a rant prepared, but again, he's tackling a lot of issues. Like, man, it sure is hard to get food in this day and age when you have too many options, and there's a lot of songs that you can get off the internet, guys. Still, though, it doesn't quite have the teeth of the previous album. It has some of my all-time favorite songs, but only one of them is in my top 5. It's an A tier album, but it's a low A.
It's like A or B or something, whatever.
Yeah, I have to give it an A simply on the basis of the two absolute 100% top banger songs that Weird Al has ever written. I think the next two albums will be better than this, but this album kind of sets the tone for those two albums. Like, I think Al realized what worked here and what didn't work, and he tweaked that and thus gave us Alpocalypse.
For our potpourri tonight, you know, we have him as a talking head in a documentary about one of the artists on this list. Al's band, collaborators, and producers do a lot of the heavy lifting for getting his music to sound as good as it does. We have praised endlessly his ability to be a style mimic, but that praise belongs in equal measures to all the other talented musicians and engineers he has surrounded himself with over the years. But it must not be forgotten. Al is a master craftsman, a consummate professional, and an incredibly trained and practiced musician in his own right. The skill on display here in his accordion cover of This Town Ain't Big Enough for the Both of Us by Sparks. The dexterity, the delicate and dynamic touch. Accordion is not the easiest instrument to play. It is a full body coordination type deal. And this Sparks song is no 4-chord sleeper. It goes places. It's doing wacky nonsense, playing all over the place melodically and accompaniment-wise. For Al to nail that bombast as a solo act, hats off, Mr. Weird. You are one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, it was a fun listen. I could hear the virus alert in it.
I'm going to take you guys on a little journey. 2011, my friend Matt and I drove to Atlanta for a concert. We saw the Final Fantasy Distant Worlds concert with a bunch of our friends up there. And what was special about this particular concert, because when I think of like a musician that has put as much joy into my life as Weird Al Yankovic, the only name that comes to mind is Nobuo Uematsu. And he came out onto the stage at Distant Worlds, gave his little speech. Thank you all for listening. You know, if you want to follow my band, the Black Mages. And then he asks the conductor for permission to step back into the choir so he can perform One Winged Angel as part of the choir. That moment is really special to me because that's a man whose music has outgrown him in a lot of directions. And he just takes a minute to just step back into it and be a part of the performance. And I always think about that when I watch this video of Al playing his accordion, because this song only exists as a video. It's like a Blu-ray extra as part of the documentary. It's also on YouTube. And he's not doing a shtick. He's not playing a character. He's not trying to make you laugh. It's just a man feeling the music, just being a part of something bigger than him in this moment. On top of that, it's just a beautiful piece of music.
Yeah, I think that's one of the beautiful things about music. You know, it gives us this connection that a performing art has. I mean, you know, I've written things, I've drawn things. I am a musician, even though I haven't played my instruments in a very long time. I'm sure if you threw a bass clarinet at me, or even I take my guitar out of the closet, I probably could do a little something on them. But one of the most enjoyable things about music is just simply the act of sitting down and the physical interaction between you and the medium that you're trying to convey, whether it's a guitar, an accordion, piano, glockenspiel, the cowbell, even just like, you know, the cowbell. That's why we love that bit. It needs more cowbell, because you can tell that guy really enjoys that cowbell. Weird Al really enjoys that accordion. And you know what? I can't take that away from him. This is a man who, A, truly enjoys something, but B, knows that he can only truly enjoy it because what he is doing is coming on behind the steps of others, on the shoulders of giants, whatever cliche you want to throw at that. He recognizes his place in music history and the influences that brought him there. And it's probably one of the most loving shows of respect that an artist can do. I mean, what more can you say?
You could say a letter.
I mean, Buttface has to give a letter first.
Oh, it's an S. This is a moving piece for me.
I agree.
I also agree.
Banter.
That is the worst banter I've ever heard.
Banter.
Banter.
Patter.
At best, that's the outro sting we've done in the series. At best.
Really, really, really close, but no cigar.
I thought you had to swap the disc after Eris died.
After you slay Virus Alert, you have to pinch your disc too.